Hi, first grade. For math today, you need your workbook. And you also need the shapes that you cut out last week, the rectangles, the squares. If you cut out any squares, I don't even know if there are squares here. There are. And you'll also need the little green triangles as well, and the blue and green triangles. If you have lost them or cannot find them or they're not on you right now, we can make something else work. I'll share that with you in a minute. But open to page 225, and you'll notice there's just like this empty grid here. And the point of this grid is to take your other shapes and using the grid to create bigger and different rectangles and squares. So, pretty simple. Here's my grid, and let's go ahead and you should be open to yours, following along with me. Let's take our yellow rectangle, this one that's about 2 of these squares long. And if you have it, I'd like you to also take your green rectangle and align those together. And now what have you created? What sort of new shape have you created? If you said rectangle, yes, we have 4 sides and 4 corners, 4 vertices. But if you said square, you were even more correct, because if we look, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. The length of each side is the same as well. Now, what if I said to you, okay, keep this here, make it into a rectangle. Let's make it into a rectangle. Now, make it into a different rectangle, I should really say. You could... Now, if you did this, would this work? No, because now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, so that's not going to work. What if I did this? Not quite, that's the same issue, but I could also grab, aha! I have grabbed my other square, and let's see if these are all together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, baby. A nice rectangle. Is this one a square? No, it's not, because this side and this side are longer than this side and this side. So it is a rectangle, 4 sides, 4 vertices, but not a square anymore. We could just reverse though and go, hey, it's a square again. Oh, now it's only a rectangle. Now it's nothing. If you're someone who does not have your shapes on you, you could get a little creative. And if I said to you, all right, I'd like you to make a square out of rectangles, well, you could have actually just done this, right? You could have drawn a rectangle and then drawn another rectangle, similar to what we just did with our shapes, and put them all together, and you have a square, also a rectangle again. So if you lost your shapes, that's all right. You can play around with them using a marker or a pencil. So go ahead and take about 5 minutes, time yourself. Take 5 minutes, use your squares, your rectangles, those shapes, and using this chart, please go ahead and make some different shapes. And you could, when you're done with them, here, let me show you. You could outline the different shapes you've made. So I might go and say, okay, well, here's one square. All right, but let me add, let's make it a rectangle. Let's make it a little bit longer. Make it not a square any longer. And ta-da, one big rectangle, but it's made of 1 big square and 1 rectangle. But together we can make a bigger rectangle. So that's what this page is for. Pretty fun, pretty simple. Go ahead, take a few minutes and play with your shapes on this page. When you're done, you can go ahead and open to page 226, your next page. Now this one is based on the activity you just did, and it's asking you to build shapes out of other shapes, which you were just doing. So number 1, it says build and draw the shape. Build a square, use rectangles. So literally. We can do what we just did. All right. Build a square, use rectangles. Well, we can use these, right? And it is tricky because you do have to sort of trace. So let's go ahead and do one. Ooh, this is a little tricky. All right, and then we'll add another one. And together we have a square. The sides are equal and there are 4 and 4 vertices as well. The next one says, build a rectangle with all sides the same length. Use triangles with a square corner. Ooh, this one's a little tricky. So, you see these triangles here? Just a reminder, these are triangles with a square corner. Now it says to build a rectangle with all sides the same length. So what does that mean? If there's a rectangle and all sides are the same length, oh, then it must mean that it's actually a square. Now you might go ahead and say, well, here's a triangle with a square corner, and here's a triangle with a square corner. Voila! I have a rectangle. You do have a rectangle, but is it a square? Why is it not a square? Well, Mrs. F, these two sides, they're the same. These two sides are the same, but are they all the same length? Nope. And that's not going to work. Oh, nuts. How about this one? And what about, oh, this one? Let's see. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you would really be having to use a ruler or some sort of measuring device to really determine if these lengths are equal, but for the sake of time and life, eyeballing it is going to work for us today. Oh, I did have a little line crossed out. And I bet you, though, if I wanted to double check, I could take my ruler. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let's use inches. So this is about 1.5 inches. This one's about 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches, and 1.5 inches. Wow, nice. And finally, the last one, it says, build a rectangle with 2 short sides and 2 long sides. Use triangles and rectangles. Ooh, this is a little trickier. So build a rectangle with 2 short sides and 2 long sides. So this means what we would normally think of when we say rectangle. So it's not, they do not want a square, they want a rectangle. But it says we have to use triangles and rectangles to build our shape. Well, what if we did, well, here's a rectangle, okay. What if we did this? No, that's not going to work. If we did, that could work. They're going to be too big. Let's try this guy. This is a nice, that's a triangle, and it has a square corner, so it should be able to fit, to sort of match up with another one. Oh, well, here's another triangle. Now check that out. I made a rectangle, but I only made it out of triangles. It said to also use rectangles. So guess what I can just do? There are other ways to do this, but if you did this one, this is great because now when I put it all together, oh gosh. Oh goodness. Oh boy. Here we go. Now, let's see. Here is my full rectangle, right? This is my final result, but I did that from putting 1 rectangle with 2 triangles. Nice. So that was just more playing with shapes and seeing what other shapes that you can create. The tricky part is, though, is making sure you follow what the directions ask you to do. Now, if you look at the next page, this one's fun. This is another page where you get to play with shapes, but what shapes are we going to be playing with here? Well, let's outline. What are all of these dotted lines making up? Oh, that's all those little green triangles. I knew we cut them out for something. And basically, I want you to just play around with your triangles and make any kind of polygon that you can come up with, any kind of shape. But be careful. Now here, I have made a rhombus. A rhombus is just a four-sided figure that has that sides have equal lengths. And yes, the square is a rhombus. Whoa. I could also add that guy in. And now I've made a trapezoid. But if I did this, would this work? This would not work for the activity we're doing because they have to share, when you put the shapes together, they need to share an edge. All right? This is sharing a corner, but if we went to go do that, we would just be drawing two different triangles. They wouldn't really be connected. Mrs. F is looking. I'm looking for all my other green triangles so I can see if I can make more. This, again, they're only sharing a corner, but if I filled this in here, and where's my other one? Uh-oh. I think I've lost quite a few of my green triangles. Oh, here's one more. Now, if only I could find that last one. Now this, by the way, this is a shape. It's kind of a silly, funny looking shape, but it is one. And it has 1, 2, let me just get rid of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-sided shape. What? But if I had been able to find that last triangle, I would have made, how many sides is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is a hexagon. Anyway, if you have these little triangle shapes, go ahead and play around on this page. If you don't have your shapes, if you're like me and you've lost half of them, you can go ahead and use a marker or a pencil to sort of trace different types of shapes. Trapezoid, a rhombus. Could we make a, no, all the lines are going to be diagonal. This is also a rhombus. It's just kind of a giant rhombus, but all 4 sides equal in length. Okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to power through. Now, after you've played with this, we can go ahead and continue. If you need more time to play, please pause your video. Now this is an activity that you would have done in partners in school, which is a little sad. But alas, I'll just show you for the sake of showing you. Basically, it's telling us that we used, oh gosh, where's my other one? I just had it. You guys, I don't even know how you guys manage to keep yours if I can't even keep mine all together. Well, he's gone. My little blue, oh, nope. Okay, well, yeah. Oh golly. Okay, well, Mrs. F has lost her triangle. She's almost lost her marbles, but they're still intact for the most part. The point, though, of this was to show you that with these shapes, so you have your little green triangle, and then you would have also had your other smaller blue triangle. The bigger versions of them, we also have those. I have my bigger versions, but of course, I can't seem to find my smaller versions. But the idea is to show you that these rectangles were actually made out of these triangles that have square edges. And then you would have worked with partners in the classroom to come together to make these, because you only have one green and one blue, but if you could work with other people, you can combine forces and put them all together. The same with the rest of these exercises. So don't worry about these. Still looks pretty cool, but we're going to move on through. You did this on Zoom with me. You did that on Zoom. You did that on Zoom. We did that on Zoom. We're moving on to this page. Ladies and gentlemen, this next section is all about measuring and measurement. Now, what they have you do later is they're going to have you using paper clips. And if you do not have tons of paper clips at home, which some of you may not, we will find some other solutions for that, so don't stress. But we're on 233. This, my friends, is too simple for you. It is too simple for you. So it says write 1, 2, 3 to order from shortest to longest. Shortest to longest. All right, we're talking about length, the length of something. So when you want to measure how tall or how long something is, we usually refer to those as things being short or things being tall, things being short or things being long. And in this case, we're looking at what strip is the shortest, what's the longest, what pencil's the shortest, what pencil's the longest. Simple stuff. So for number 1, it says write 1, 2, 3 to order shortest to longest. 1 being shortest, 3 being longest. So looking at these 3, what's going to be your shortest? Boom, of course, this one right here. You could even, if you have a ruler with you, you could go and measure. This one is only, oh, there I am in centimeters again. Centimeters are good too. That's an inch. Okay, this is definitely more than an inch. Now, which one do you think would be the next shortest? Well, let's see, this one only stops at here. They all start at the same line, right? They all start here. Now this one goes to here. So both of these go past it, so we know this one's the shortest. All right, let's see what's the next shortest. Well, which one? How about this guy? If we did a dashed line, this would still be going through. So this one is definitely the next one. And then finally, we know that this is the longest. This goes further than all of the other ones. But these are pretty, I mean, you should be able, I hope, to see this visually without having to measure or even draw these types of lines. So go ahead and label these 3 pencils, 1, 2, 3, shortest being 1, 3 being longest. Now, over here, it says, draw 3 different lines, write 1, 2, 3 to order from longest to shortest. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you could use a ruler for this, but you don't have to. You could just sort of freehand it. But the idea is the best thing you want to do is make sure your lines all start at around the same place. And for those of you who don't have a ruler, I'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and do one. See, I'm trying to stop mine around the same point, okay? So again, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. So I would go ahead and then label which one's the shortest. Oh gosh, sorry. Longest to shortest. Reverse. We're reversing this one around. So longest, well, my longest is obviously this one, so that's going to be 1. My next longest, 2, and then my least long there. Same thing for the bottom. Mix up your lines. Isn't that pretty simple? I think it is. I think you think it is too. But if you do need me to slow down, by all means, pause the video. I don't expect you to be flying through getting all your lines done. Now, here's where we get into measuring with paper clips. We're on page 235. So it just says, measure in paper clips. Red ribbon, a blue ribbon, green pencil, purple pencil, and it gives you a little box that says how long blank paper clips. There's really one really important thing to note about measuring items, and here it is. If you are given something to measure, let's say this red ribbon here, and let's say it says to use paper clips. Well, you would need a pile of paper clips. All right, I have a few here, thank goodness. And now, if I started measuring here, is that good? And I say, okay, that's 1 paper clip, 2 paper clips. It's 3 paper clips long. Is that correct? No. And why is it not correct? Because I did not align my measuring tool and the item or object I was measuring. Let's try that again. Here's the edge of my paper clip, right here. So I need to make sure I align it with what I am measuring. Now we've got it. 1, 2, and now this is, is this a full 3 paper clips long? No, it's not. If I were to do this directly, I'd probably say it is 2 3/4 of paper clip, but for the sake of our learning, I could write I might say it's 2.5 paper clips long, which you can show by writing 2 1/2 or 2.5. Now if you are using paper clips at home, your paper clips might be smaller. So if your paper clips are smaller, you're not going to have the same answer as me. And for those of you who do not have paper clips, but have rulers, well, golly, by all means, go for it and feel free to measure using a ruler. All right? Now, another reminder, my ruler is a little tricky to see, but where my ruler starts, does my ruler start here? No, it starts right here at the first line that says 0 inches. That is what I must align to the object. So if I did this, that's wrong because that's not where my inch starts. My inch starts a little bit in. So I need to make sure that I align this line here to this edge here. And then I can go and see that, oh, that red ribbon is exactly 5 inches long. If you do use a measuring tool that is not paper clips, you need to specify that in your label. So for me, I could literally cross out, whoops, thank you. I could cross out paper clips, let's pretend I got through this, and I can write inches because that's what I just measured in, and I could write 5 inches. Again, if you have paper clips, feel free to use them, but if you have a ruler, feel free to use that. If you have, maybe you only have tiny Lego block pieces, but you have enough of them, use those, get creative. So you're going to complete that page there. All right, and then you are also going to complete this page here. Nice job. Oh, and you know what? I think you can just finish. I think you can finish this unit. There's only 2 pages left. And this one is just dividing items into certain equal parts, all right? So you may need a grown-up's help reading these and figuring out what to do. It just says draw lines to show equal shares. That's kind of back to halves and fourths. Okay. I'll let you try that one without any guidance from me, but I think you'll get it. And then another measuring activity. All right. And again, it's saying to use in paper clips. If you don't have paper clips, grab a ruler, grab some Lego cubes, grab something that is consistent. You can't use a marker and a paper clip to measure because those are 2 different items. But if let's say you were measuring something really long, you could use markers, right? Y'all love to make these marker swords, but you could actually use that to measure something that's long. That's not going to work for our case here, right? These are all tiny items that can fit on our math workbook page. But for the sake of things around your house, you could measure with markers, which is fun. So just to recap, we completed 225 to 227. We skipped and we did 233 all the way to 238. 238. That is a lot, but you can do it. And again, if you need to replay this video at all, go for it. And good work. Don't worry about the math review test. That will be for tomorrow. Bye.